Oh, welcome back to Trash Man MMA. And man, I was sitting here thinking today, man, like this matchmaking of Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev makes no damn sense. And I hope y'all can agree with me on that because I've been thinking, right? Y'all seen my video that I posted yesterday. It was kind of an immediate reaction to it. It was just like a man, Charles Oliveira is cooked. He's coming back too soon, I believe, in my opinion. But I didn't really go over the matchup itself. And today, that's what I kind of want to do. I want to go over the fact that this matchup is the most bizarre, weirdly timed. They're pushing Rafael Fiziev so hard right now with this. And I don't understand why. This guy lost to Justin Gaethje twice, but we'll get into that later. I just don't think this matchup is what should have been done. Maybe he was the only one that accepted the fight in October, even though I think that's ample time for say one of these other fighters to get ready. And I get it. It was mainly Charles Oliveira who wanted to fight in Sao Paulo in Brazil. That's why he wanted to fight so soon. But we're gonna go over a few matchups that I think were better and I think are just more just make 10 times more sense than Rafael Fiziev, who's not even in the top 10. So right here I have Rafael Fiziev's last 5 fights, which are not impressive. He's 1-4 in his last 5. He lost to Justin Gaethje twice. Oh no, he's 2-3 in his last 5. My apologies. He lost to Justin Gaethje twice. He lost to Mateus Gamrot. It was an injury. It was just a fluke injury, to be honest. But he has a win over an out of prime Rafael dos Anjos. And he has a win over an unranked Bahamondes, who was on a 3-fight win streak. I get it. You know, he had a nice little 3-piece. He had Emmanuel Torres. He had a Jalen Turner, and I forgot the Christian Diagos, some bullshit like that. He had a nice little clean 3-fight win streak, but he was unranked. And it's just it doesn't make any sense. This is not the record of a person who deserves a top 5 opponent after finally getting a win after 3 losses straight. He got a win. Let's put it this way. He lost 3 times in a row to ranked opposition. Got a win over an unranked opponent and is now getting a top 5? I'm sorry, but in what world does that make sense? People want to talk about Paddy Pimblett privilege. Bro, this guy's privilege is through the roof. Talk about freaking Dana White privilege, man. I don't know who this guy, I don't know what this guy's done in the back rooms to get this type of service, but this is insane. Maybe it is. He's the only one in the lightweight division taking matchups, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that other people that I'm about to bring up are just turning down this matchup against Charles Oliveira, a former champion, a top 5 ranked person in the lightweight division. I don't think that people would be turning down this fight, and I can't say that they would. But with this, I don't think this provides any legacy for Charles Oliveira. What does Rafael Fiziev do on Charles Oliveira's resume? Oh yeah, Charles Oliveira. Look, think about it. We're gonna look back at this fight and say, damn, Charles Oliveira. If Charles Oliveira wins, he's gonna be like, damn, he beat a guy who was 1-3 in his last 4, 2-3 in his last 5. You know, like, what is that really gonna be impressive? And if he loses to Rafael Fiziev, that's even worse. Damn, he lost to a 3-3 fighter, have a 50-50 fighter. Now Charles Oliveira in recent time has become that himself, but I don't believe this does anything for Charles Oliveira's resume. And that's about all the harping I want to do on Rafael Fiziev. I don't want to bore you guys to death. So we have 4 fighters who I think were 10 times better than a Rafael Fiziev matchup. And the first opponent I have here is Max Holloway. I think he's the number one best candidate for Charles Oliveira. And I get it. You guys are already going to be commenting, Max Holloway's out with a hand injury. He's not going to fight for the rest of this year. I know. Do you really think I want fucking Charles Oliveira fighting this year? No, not at all. He should not be fighting this year. He got slept out cold barely a month ago. 37 days ago, something like that. He got slumped out cold. And you think now fighting this year is gonna be good for him? Bro, I'm sorry, but when you get that type of knockout loss, you gotta take 6 months off. I'm sorry, that is a mandatory 6 months off at least. That is I'm coming back no sooner than December. That's what I was thinking for for Charles Oliveira, and with the Max Holloway being injured, that just pushes that date back a little bit further. So yeah, he might not he might not fight for the rest of this year. But what's so bad about a January matchup, about a February, maybe a March. That is pushing it a little bit. I would like to see it mainly in February, but Max Holloway, he is the best candidate for Charles Oliveira. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, with his only loss being to the double champ Ilia Topuria. He's 2-0 in the lightweight division against top 10 opponents, top 5 opponents, I'm sorry. Justin Gaethje schooled him for 5 rounds straight and then slumped him out cold in the final second. Dustin Poirier schooled, I don't want to say schooled him, but overall held a good lead against Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier caught up in times, but for the most part, it was Max Holloway comfortably ahead, dropping him, nearly finishing him in the first and second round. And he has a win over Charles Oliveira. In the past, I get it was in 2015, 2016, but he has a win over Charles Oliveira. That's legacy. That's legacy for Charles Oliveira. He gets that win back. It's 1-1. He gets the BMF belt. He gets the BMF belt. He gets some hype around his name now. It's not just, Charles Oliveira lost to Islam, lost to Arman Tsarukyan, lost to freaking Ilia Topuria. No, it's, damn, Charles Oliveira. He just fucking, he just beat Max Holloway if he does. This is legacy. This isn't Rafael Fiziev. Oh, cool, you beat Rafael Fiziev. No, this is, holy shit, Max Holloway. Steamroller Max Holloway in the lightweight division as of right now. It's perfect. It's a perfect matchup for Oliveira. And I already mentioned the long turnaround, which is perfect for Oliveira. He needs time off. He doesn't need to come back 3 months after getting brutally slept out cold. This was the perfect matchup, and I can't believe, I get it. Outside forces, Max Holloway breaking his hand is probably what didn't make this matchup. But I still see future for a Charles Oliveira Max Holloway fight. If Charles Oliveira beats Rafael Fiziev, I think then he'll be more comfortable in taking some time off. And I think 4 months would be ample time for Charles Oliveira to get back in there against a Max Holloway. So I think Max Holloway is the best contender in the division for Charles Oliveira. But I really think they fumbled this one, man. I would still like to see it, but let's get on to the second best candidate that I have here that you can switch around. The second and third and fourth, hey, you can do what you want with the second, third, and fourth placed candidates. This is just what I have. This is just what I would like to see, and I'll explain why. Next, Paddy Pimblett, I believe, is the second best candidate for Charles Oliveira. Now, hold on. Let me cook here. Paddy Pimblett, an extremely hyped up name, has all the hype in the world right now. Oh, well, he's probably one of the more hyped contenders in the lightweight division. He's ranked number 9, 2 places, or actually 1 place higher than Rafael Fiziev off rip. He's higher ranked than Rafael Fiziev. He's undefeated in the UFC, 7-0, with his last win being over Michael Chandler, who he beat way more dominantly and 10 times more impressively than Charles Oliveira did in his recent fight with Michael Chandler, which is his only win in recent times other than Beneil Dariush. Paddy Pimblett beat Michael Chandler way more impressive. And I think he'd beat, actually, I don't think he could beat, I don't think he could beat Beneil Dariush more impressively than Charles Oliveira. But he has no fight booked either. There's nothing for Paddy Pimblett right now. On paper, in reality, I do think there are things that we don't know about. I think we will be getting a Paddy Pimblett matchup announcement in the next 2 weeks, I would say. Fairly soon, or I would say in the next week, we'll get a Paddy Pimblett announcement, if I'm being honest. I don't think they're just going to make this huge matchup and not have Paddy Pimblett there. I think Paddy Pimblett would have been a great matchup against Charles Oliveira. He's not a heavy-handed striker. He's not, well, he's a very shit striker is what I'm trying to say. He's very bad. Leaves his chin up in the air to get caught. Perfect for Oliveira. That's something that he would love. He's not, Paddy Pimblett isn't powerful whatsoever. He has good grappling 100%. Who else has good grappling? Charles Oliveira. This would be a perfect matchup for Charles Oliveira. Somebody who he's evens with. I think he's better than Paddy Pimblett on the ground. So Charles Oliveira would be looking at somebody that he's better than on the ground. He's better than on the feet. Overall, just better. Just like literally just better. Charles Oliveira is just better than Paddy Pimblett. Only thing Paddy Pimblett has is age. The age factor. He's younger. He's in his prime. Charles Oliveira is at that age where he's not yet left his prime, but hey, he has 1 foot out the door. That's for sure. I'll tell you that much. And I think this was just a perfect matchup for Charles Oliveira if he couldn't get that Max Holloway fight. This was not a layup. It definitely would have been a hard fight, but I just don't see why you would choose a 1-3 opponent over the 7-0 guy. A guy who actually would give you legacy. A guy who would actually bring something to the table. I think Paddy Pimblett was the second best candidate, man. On to the next choice. Number 3, Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker slept on, you know. Dan Hooker is really slept on. He's ranked number 6. He's 3 ranks higher than Paddy Pimblett. He's 3-0 in his run back in the lightweight division. He left to featherweight to go get fucking TKO'd against my GOAT, Arnold Allen. He's now back in the lightweight division. He beat Puedio, how do you say? Puedio Quales? No. So, you know, that guy. Something Quales, Puedio Quales. Then he beat Jalen Turner, and then he beat Gamrot. As I said, he has a win over Gamrot right here. Dan Hooker also doesn't have a fight booked. Yes, he himself is also coming off of a hand injury, but I believe he's better. But there is some quarries with Dan Hooker in the UFC right now. They I can't remember what he was yapping about on like Twitter or something, but he says, man, if the UFC doesn't respect me, why am I gonna rush back to get in the cage to fight for an organization that doesn't care for me? So there are some rifts between Dan Hooker and the UFC right now, but I can't imagine hey, Dan Hooker, we have a Charles Oliveira right here for you. Hey, Charles Oliveira, we have a Dan Hooker who's not the best on the ground. Decent striker, really good striker, but you know what I'm saying? I think this was not even a good matchup for Charles Oliveira. I don't think a striker is what Charles Oliveira really wants right now. That's why I kind of have him third, and you could arguably put him fourth. But he has a win over Gamrot. He himself has no fight booked either. This in itself, dude, he's a 10 times better candidate than a Rafael Fiziev. Rafael Fiziev doesn't sell. Rafael Fiziev doesn't fucking sell unless you're in Azerbaijan. Dan Hooker sells. Paddy Pimblett sells. They sell. I know it's not a pay-per-view, but you get what I'm trying to say. That brings in eyes. That brings in holy shit. Charles Oliveira versus who? And not a who as in, oh, I don't know that fighter, but a who as in, holy fuck, he's fighting him? He's fighting Paddy Pimblett? He's fighting Dan Hooker? Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev, to the casual eye, that is Who is Charles Oliveira fighting? Who? I don't. Number 10? Who? I don't know this guy. Who is this guy? They're not looking. That's such a bad matchup. Dan Hooker was there for the taking, but I get it. I kind of do want to see Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje more than Dan Hooker versus Charles Oliveira. But it was there, and I'd rather see Dan Hooker versus Charles Oliveira than Oliveira versus fucking Fiziev. On to the fourth, man. Mateusz Gamrot, ranked 7th below Hooker. He lost to Hooker. He's 8-2 in his last 10, bro. No kidding. He's 8-2 in his last 10. He lost to Beneil Dariush and he lost to Dan Hooker. Those are the 2 losses he has. He has a fucking win over Fiziev. I have it marked right there. It is an injury. It is a win out of injury. Technicality. It is a fucking fucking Blades versus Aspinall type win. You know, fluke injury. But he wasn't looking bad. Gamrot wasn't looking bad in that fight, man. But he has a win over Fiziev. He has a win over Arman Tsarukyan. What are we doing here, man? This is terrible matchmaking. Peak terrible matchmaking. I just listed you 3 people who are ranked above Fiziev, who have better records in the lightweight division than Fiziev, who have better wins over Fiziev. Fiziev doesn't have anything. There's no reason why Fiziev should be ranked. Fiziev's best wins are Bobby Green and Rafael dos Anjos. Those right now are his best wins. You could put a Bahamondes in there, sure, but really? You're going to choose the guy whose best win in recent times is Bahamondes. Not Gamrot, who has a win over Arman Tsarukyan, who has a win over Fiziev, who has a win over RDA. Again, he did get fucking hurt in the first round, almost fucking KO'd. But this guy went to a scrap with Dan Hooker. Some people say it's a fucking robbery. I don't think it's a robbery. I think you're the right person won. I think Dan Hooker should have won. I think all the times that Mateusz Gamrot, I think all the times people thought Gamrot hurt Dan Hooker, he actually didn't. He actually whiffed the shot in the first round where he arguably almost dropped and really badly hurt Dan Hooker. No, that punch that actually didn't connect whatsoever if you watch it back. But this guy, man, look, bro, if you want to put Gamrot in second place, I don't blame you. If you want to put Gamrot in third place, I don't blame you. I have him in fourth because he lost to Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's higher ranked. I think Dan Hooker gets a bit more than Gamrot just by default. I think Paddy Pimblett is only above a Dan Hooker because of name value. But I just think all these guys are fucking leagues better choices than a fucking Rafael Fiziev, man. That is blasphemous. Blasphemous how they're treating Rafael Fiziev, man. They go to his hometown. One of the only Azerbaijan fighters. They go to his hometown when he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Hey, Fiziev, we're going to your hometown for you. Here you go. Fuck all the other fighters. Fuck Yuri Prokoshka. Fuck Jan Blachowicz. Fuck all these guys. Yeah, we'll go to your hometown where there's only 2 of you guys. And then we'll sign some random bum. Just for you, Rafael Fiziev. Give you a free win so we can match you up against Charles Oliveira. Fucking weirdos, man. Absolute weirdos. I can't stand that. That is something so blasphemous. It's insane, but I don't want to keep you guys. I don't want to complain. Yeah, I know I'm not trying to be another Lucas Tracy, but I hope you guys can see that this is just not something that like I'm really just trying to complain about, but this is a very valid thing to be upset about. Like, as like why Fiziev is getting this matchup is beyond me. It should be beyond you as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm Trashman MMA. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll be posting my prediction video for Dolidze versus Hernandez probably around 5 o'clock. It's 12 right now. I'll upload this around 12:30. So around 5 o'clock in about 4.5 hours, I'll post up another video for you guys. So stay tuned, and thank you guys very much. Enjoy your day.